everyone, this is Nika, and it has been a minute since I recorded a video. I think I did like a 16-week update, and then I just went like ghost. So sorry about that long gap, but I think I tried to record something at 20 weeks and I had some technical difficulties, and I was just like, you know what, forget it. So all throughout my pregnancy, it was pretty uncomplicated. I was considered a high risk because of my advanced maternal age or geriatric pregnancy, and the multiple gestation, pregnant with twins, and let's see, the age, the twin gestation. Yeah, that was that made me fit into the category. So I was very at high risk. So I had to do certain things that were not really required for like a normal pregnancy, like if I was younger or had a single baby. Like I had to take the glucose test 2 times, the 1 hour fasting test. I had to take that 2 times. The second time I failed. First time I didn't fail, and I believe I failed the second time because I was I took it like later in the day, like about 3 or 4 o'clock, and I had a feeling that the results would be just not good because it wasn't really an accurate representation, I believe, of the glucose that's in my body at any certain point in time, because I had breakfast, I had lunch, and I just feel like it was a little, I should have took that test. If I would have took that test in the morning, I would have been okay. But I did go on to take that 3-hour test, and I passed that, so I didn't have the gestational diabetes or the preeclampsia, which I'll talk about that a little bit later when I talk about like my admission. Well, anyway, let's get into it. This is my labor and delivery story, which was very unexpected. I'm such a last minute person, so this is what happens when you're a procrastinator like me. I went in for my 36-week checkup with my OB, and this would be the first time that she's ever done like an exam, a vaginal exam with me to check. Of course, I get there, my blood pressure has been running kind of elevated, like in the 130s. Usually I run like in the 110s, like 115, you know, 120s. But for the last couple of weeks, I've been a little bit elevated, like 130s, and even peaking up into the 140s over 90s or whatever. I've been creeping up with the blood pressure, and that's something that you have to watch because of advanced maternal age and multiple gestation as well, because preeclampsia can develop pretty quickly when you have those 2 conditions. So I was part of the hospital's Connected Mom program. They probably call it different things, probably call it different stuff everywhere. My neighbor's weed whacking, so ignore that. But so I monitored my blood pressure. I started monitoring my blood pressure daily because I was in like the final trimester. So I wanted to make sure I know that preeclampsia can come on pretty quickly. So every morning I took my blood pressure. If it was pretty high, I take it again around lunchtime, a little bit later in the evening, just to see if it was fluctuating or I was continuously high. So I started running in the 130s, and then it came down a little bit, but I did have a few episodes where I was like 140 over 90, 90s in like the morning time when I didn't even do anything yet. So anyway, I let my doctor know all of that. She said she'd continue to monitor it. If it goes up to a certain point, I believe it's 160, if it's over 160, over 100s or 110, then you definitely want to go to the emergency room, the OB emergency room. So none of that happened, of course, but at my 36-week checkup, she checked me. I was 5 centimeters dilated. And it was pretty interesting because I didn't feel like I was having contractions, but when I kind of thought about it, I was having like these period cramps. Very mild, but just kind of like, well, period cramps. So I was actually having contractions at that point, but it wasn't a rhythmic, it wasn't anything, so I just kind of ignored it. I was just like, okay, yeah, probably my body doing something, you know. But those, I guess, were contractions, and I was 5 centimeters dilated. Did I have any other symptoms or anything? No other symptoms at all besides the elevated blood pressure and the slight cramps. So she checked me, I was 5 centimeters dilated, which was crazy. And so I went to the emergency room, and they kind of monitor my blood pressure, the babies, of course, and the contractions. The babies looked like they were doing pretty well on the monitor. My blood pressure was still kind of elevated. I was still like the 130s, the early 130s, because now I know that isn't really like cause for alarm, elevated blood pressure in the 130s, but for me, because that wasn't my baseline, it was a little, you know, something was going on. So they admitted me based on those two factors. It was the gestational hypertension and also the threatened something. It was threatened pregnancy, threatened delivery, or whatever. But anyway, they admitted me for those two things. Basically sitting in the, we were admitted, we had a room, and we were just chilling there. It was a Friday, because I always get my appointments on Friday. So it was a Friday, we were sitting there just waiting. They were monitoring me to see if I was actively in labor, if I had contractions steadily, monitoring the babies and everything like that. So that was kind of like a sleepless night, because I couldn't really get comfortable, because they monitor both the babies, and baby B was just moving around, doing flips and all kind of tricks and all kind of stuff. So it was kind of, that one, he kept going off the monitor. So the nurse would come in like every hour, so we didn't get any consistent rest that night. So we were kind of waiting around, like, okay, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? And finally, the doctor said Saturday. Doctor came in Saturday, I believe it was afternoon, and they were just like, okay, well, we don't want to send you home, so we're gonna induce you. So I was 36 weeks, and it was kind of I didn't want to deliver at 36 weeks. Of course, the longer that you keep your babies in, the better. But given the situation is that I was 5 centimeters dilated, and I don't know, labor could have came really fast. I could have been somewhere I wasn't supposed to be, stuck somewhere, but so they decided to, after they talked it over with the other doctors or whatever, and my primary doctor, they said they wanted to induce me. I was planning to be induced between my 37th and 38th week, but when you're 5 centimeters dilated, they went ahead and induced me. So the induction part of it, I believe they started that afternoon, like about, I want to say about 5 or something, maybe 4. I don't know, everything was a blur. So they started that afternoon, Saturday afternoon with, no they didn't, Sunday. Child, I don't know. Okay, so Saturday, that was the day they talked about everything. They were going to induce me. They were looking at Sunday for the induction. So the next day for the induction. So we were there Friday, Saturday, just kind of like sitting around waiting, and we figured, and they told us that Sunday would be the big day. So Saturday and Friday, they started to give me the penicillin, because I had my group B test or whatever, but the results were still pending, because that's something that they have to send off, and the cultures have to grow and everything like that. So I had my group B, and I didn't have any results, so they went ahead and they gave me the penicillin just to be safe, because if I've never had the group B strep my previous 2 pregnancies, but it's something, group B is something that you wouldn't really know that you have unless you had it, and the complications to the baby, it sounds like it's pretty serious. So they went ahead and they gave me the penicillin, and it was like every 4 hours they treated me for group B. Let's see what else they gave me, like lactated ringers to keep me hydrated, and what else? Yeah, and that was it. So we were just waiting on Sunday, because that was going to be the day, right? So Sunday comes. We're thinking it's going to be like a morning thing. They're going to start the induction. It ended up being that afternoon. They're waiting for my doctor to come into town, I believe, before they went ahead and started. But so when they did start the contractions, which is the Pitocin, I was just like, hey, can I get that epidural? I wasn't really feeling any pain, but I know how the pains of labor are, because my first pregnancy, I had an epidural, but for some reason it did not work. It didn't work. It didn't take. The second time I had one, I didn't feel anything at all, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. But for this this third time, I just was like, okay, well, can I get the epidural? Can I get the epidural? Are y'all gonna start the epidural? They're talking about the Pitocin and inducing, but they didn't say anything about the epidural. So I put my request in for the epidural, but they actually ended up starting the Pitocin because the way they put the Pitocin on, it's like you only get they kind of increase the amount of Pitocin that you do depending on how the babies react to it, how you react to it. So it wasn't like the Pitocin would have started and it would have been at a level to where, okay, I'm about to deliver in like 5 minutes. They started at a very low dose and then they increased the dose. So after they started that, then I got my epidural. And when she was giving me the epidural, kind of like when she was putting it in, she was telling me everything that I would feel. And she said, it's going to feel like a little bolt of electricity or whatever the medicine was. I would feel like a bolt of electricity. I said, okay. And when she did it, I felt it, but it was only like my left leg. I was like, I can feel it, but it's only like on the left side, my left leg. Put a pin in that because that's important. So I only felt it on the left side, and I think she told me something like, okay, it's going to take a while to go to the other side and all that. I was just like, oh, okay, all right, I'll trust you. Let's go. So I'm getting my contractions, they're coming in, and I start to feel like cramps. I'm just like, okay, so I press my button. That's what it's there for. It's for me to press the button. And if I press the button and the pain isn't controlled, then to call the anesthesiologist back. So that's what I did. I called the anesthesiologist because I'm noticing that, hold up, I can feel like the contractions are coming and I can actually feel them. And I have a pretty high tolerance for pain. But I'm not supposed to be feeling anything because I was so spoiled by the second epidural that I had and didn't feel anything. So I call them and they give me the extra dose. And they do the ice bag test where they kind of pat your leg to see. And I told her, and I remember the first time when the anesthesiologist, she put the ice packs on. And I was just like, okay, that's none of that. And I was like, oh, wait, I can feel that. And it was like in my right thigh. And I thought something would happen. Nothing happened. So I don't know. For some reason, my epidural was in wrong. The guy, he tried to pull it out a little bit further back because it could have been down too far, if that makes sense. So he tried to kind of like pull it up and then give me another dose. And I don't know, by that time, that was just a distraction because I was ready to push. I was like 9.5 centimeters. So they wheel me off with the epidural distraction stuff. They check me again. I'm like 9.5 because they can clearly see that these contractions are kicking my ass. They were kicking my ass, y'all. And all I could do was, because I was thinking, I was like, I don't want to be that person that just starts screaming and hollering and all that. So I just kind of closed my eyes and I just breathe in and out, try to breathe through them. And I counted and I was just like, okay, 7 breaths. Each contraction is 7 breaths. Inhale, exhale. Okay, if I can just focus on getting to 7 breaths during each of these contractions, I'll be okay. So I did that, and it was time to roll to the operating room because they deliver twins in the operating room just in case they need to switch to a C-section. So I go to the operating room, and when I feel the contractions, it was just like 4 breaths now. I was just like, wait, my contractions are getting shorter. Is that what's going on? And they were just like, the epidural is probably kicking in. And I'm just like, oh great, fine time for that to kick in now. But anyway, so the contractions, I don't know, I guess the epidural really did kick in because I don't remember any specific pain when I was pushing. Like, I don't know if I was just really focused on pushing the babies out or whatever, but I didn't feel like any pain. Like, it was all at that point, it was just like, okay, we got to do it. We got to do it now. So that's why I was really focused on just pushing the baby out. So baby A came out, and right before baby A came out, they were doing a practice push with me while they were waiting for the NICU team to show up, because the NICU team has to be there for twins, I believe, and I was 36 weeks, so they like to be there when the babies are born. So they did a practice push with me, and so I could feel it. but it wasn't painful, but I could just feel that pressure of the baby coming down. And I was just like, okay, I feel him coming out. I thought we were waiting for people. So they were just like, okay, right there. So, yo, like, I was ready to push this baby out, but we had to wait for the NICU team because I guess they get mad when you deliver babies without them. So I could have pushed that baby out right then and there. So NICU team came, I guess they came. I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to get these babies out. And by the way, the team of like nurses and doctors, they were amazing. They were awesome. They were just like so supportive, and it was a beautiful experience, the birth. No complications at all. It was just, everything went perfect. But anyway, so I pushed the first one out. Baby A came out. Whew, and that was it. And then baby A, it was time for baby B. So the nurse or the doctor, the resident, I don't know who she was, but she was just sitting there and she was just all in my stuff. She was all in my business. So I think when they delivered baby A, she must have been trying to position baby B, which they both were head down. So, which is so grateful for that, because baby B was breech, head down, transverse. He was just flipping all over the place during the whole pregnancy. So anyway, the lady, I'm not sure exactly if she was a nurse or a resident doctor, whoever she was, but she was down there and she was catching those babies. And so baby B took a few more pushes, but 5 minutes later, after baby A, baby B was there. Now I turn around to, like, I don't know why, I just turned around to my husband, who was like right here. And I turn around and like baby A is just looking like this, like, he's just like, y'all bought me out for this? What is this? He was really like very alert. But baby A, I think baby A is kind of like my baby who will always be ready, and just like, because he was head down very early on and he maintained that position. Like, he was just like, I'm ready to get out, I'm ready, I'm here. What else do you want me to do? Baby A is just very consistent, I'll say that. So when he came out, turned around, I was just looking, I was just like, is he really just looking at everything? He's just like, just eyes wide open, and he was just looking like, what is this? What did you bring me into? So anyway, baby A, baby B, I think once they were delivered, they went to the NICU. All of this is kind of like, of course, I'm focusing on pushing these babies out and trying to, so the time period of everything that happened, it felt really quick for me. And it actually was. I think it was like less than 30 minutes. Because when I went in, yeah, I think it was like everything happened, like the whole labor process was like less than 30 minutes. So anyway, we went in there to deliver B, and then I asked to see the placenta because I was just so fascinated, because baby B had a marginal cord insertion, or it was a velaminous cord insertion. I don't know what it was. They couldn't really clarify exactly what, but the cord was not connected to the middle of the placenta. It was on the side of the placenta, which can cause some complications, but I did have ultrasounds like every month to monitor that condition, and he seems to be growing fine. So some babies, you don't get any complications with any of that. Make sure I took my vitamins, because I knew that everything that I ate or whatever, it had to be okay. It had to be nutritious or whatever to be able to maintain, because I was trying to keep up with growing 2 babies instead of 1 baby. So that explains like my cereal cravings at night. I had to have a bowl of cereal or just something, but just like constantly eating something, because you know, you're growing them babies. So they came out, baby A was 5 pounds 10 ounces and baby B was 5 pounds 7 ounces. So they're very similar. Now whether they're identical or fraternal, we're not sure. We got to get like a DNA test or something like that, but they look pretty, like you can tell in the face shape, like one has like a slimmer face than the other one has like a wider face. So my older 2 girls, they look very, very similar, like when they were small, and they kind of... All right, y'all, that's enough of all that talking. The video cut out for some
some reason. But just a few photos, my girls with the babies in the hospital. And these are all my children. All my children. This is baby A. He had to get a little bit of light therapy for jaundice. Their levels were kind of high, but they did clear out like within a week or two after the delivery at the doctor's appointment. They tested them. Here they are. Baby A, baby B. It's fun looking back at pictures to see if we can tell who's who. This is another sign. This is before the birth and after that swelling went down. Anyway, thank you guys for watching all that. Happy holidays.